pics or it didn't happen. They say, well, these did happen, but even with photos you'll find it hard to convince others of what's happening. From one of the longest unsolved mysteries to the most convincing dashcam photo, here are 20 mysterious photos that cannot be explained. Number 20. The Grand Canyon Stranger. Stretching 277 miles through the Arizona desert is the Grand Canyon. This chasm is 18 miles wide and over a mile deep, revealing nearly 2 billion years of Earth's history in its rock formations. For thousands of years, it has been home to Native Americans, including the Hopi, Navajo, Zuni, and Havasupai. These communities have deep connections to the canyon, seeing it as a sacred place filled with spirits and legends. Now, perhaps it's only right to believe that the Grand Canyon is a place where the supernatural persists. This photo was posted on the internet back in 2015. The group of friends who posted this photo allegedly spent 15 minutes snapping pictures with the breathtaking landscape of the Grand Canyon in the background. They didn't notice anything weird until a week later when the photos were finally developed. One of the photos showed a man wearing a black cloak, partially hidden by the bushes. What makes this entire experience weird is that no one noticed the man standing behind the bushes when they were taking photos. Is this really the Grim Reaper or just a stranger who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time? Well, unfortunately, we might never know. Number 19. A creepy selfie. I've watched a fair share of horror movies, but half of them didn't terrify me as much as this photo did. Do you see it? There really is no explanation for this selfie. This seems like a normal photo of a happy couple, but if you look closely, you realize something is amiss. Take a look at the reflection on the glass window. Creepy, right? Now, it's easy to think that this photo was simply edited after it was captured, but the couple was adamant that this wasn't the case. Are they telling the truth and something really is amiss in this photo? I'll let you decide. Number 18. Mysterious lights at an abandoned hospital. On the 27th of December 2015, a nurse at Tain Medical Center in New Orleans, Louisiana, stumbled upon an odd sight while on her way home from work. Lisa Staggs explained that she parked on the roof of the Tain Medical Center's parking garage, which just so happened to be across the street from an abandoned building, Charity Hospital, which had stood empty for more than 10 years. At least, people believed it was abandoned. Just as she was getting into her car, she suddenly saw something that sent chills down her spine. One of the hospital windows was glowing. This photo doesn't show it clearly, but according to Lisa, she saw a tiny Christmas tree glowing in the hospital room. No one knew who put it there or how it was glowing since electricity in the building had long been cut off. While some believed that someone merely trespassed in the building, others thought that there was something paranormal happening. Another nurse claimed, "It's so people don't forget. The bodies may have been removed, maybe, but the souls are still there." Perhaps that much is true. Number 17. The Amityville Ghost. Just looking at this photo sends chills down my spine. You see, horror movies usually don't scare me because I know they're not real until they flash that based on a true story on the screen, that is. Anyway, this photo terrified many because it's tied with one of the most infamous paranormal stories in history. Taken in 1976, this black and white photo shows what appears to be a young boy peering out from a doorway on the second floor of the infamous Amityville house, just 2 years after the horrific DeFeo family's death. This image was snapped by Gene Campbell, a professional photographer who was part of a paranormal investigation team led by Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens, renowned for their investigations into haunted locations, set up several cameras throughout the house to capture any evidence of supernatural activity. The camera that captured this ghost was equipped with infrared film and set to take photos automatically throughout the night. Now, this could have been any kid, but the thing is, it allegedly closely resembles John Matthew DeFeo, one of the young victims of the tragic night that unfolded in 1974. Some believe that this is the ghost of John DeFeo, unable to leave the place where his life was tragically cut short. But of course, there were also skeptics. Some suggest that the image could be of Paul Bartz, one of the investigators working with the Warrens that night. The peculiar appearance of the boy's eyes? Well, it could just be the result of the infrared film used. For many, however, this photo of the Amityville Ghost is one of the most convincing paranormal photos ever taken. Number 16. 1860s photo showing a woman holding an iPhone. In 1860, Austrian artist Ferdinand Georg Waldmüller painted this piece entitled The Expected One. It depicts a young woman walking through a lush landscape toward a man holding something. Now, when a man looked at this 1860s drawing, he thought that the girl was holding something quite bizarre, an iPhone. It seems that many others think the same. At first glance, it's easy to see why people might think this. The woman seems engrossed in a small rectangular object held close to her face, a posture that feels all too familiar. This painting went viral when a retired Glasgow government worker, noticed the uncanny object that seemed to resemble modern technology while visiting the Neue Pinakothek Museum in Munich. His observation quickly spread online. While some believe that the girl is holding a mere prayer book, which was something common at the time, others believe that the girl truly is holding a phone. Number 15. Grandpa's Ghost. This photo features a 94-year-old grandmother. This was supposed to be a sweet photo of the old lady captured by her granddaughter. However, it seems like the old woman wasn't alone. 2 pictures were taken that day, and they were set aside without much thought until Christmas Day in 2000, when the family revisited them after their grandmother had passed away. While reviewing the photos, they were frozen in fear. In one of the photos, they saw their grandmother with a bald, elderly man behind her. This wasn't just a random stranger. Upon closer inspection, the family was astonished by how much the figure resembled their late grandfather, who had passed away in 1984, years before the photo was taken in 1997. The likeness is truly striking, especially when comparing the 2 images. The granddaughter and the rest of the family are convinced that this figure is their grandfather. What are your thoughts? Was Grandpa's ghost caught in that photograph? Or was it simply someone else with a remarkable resemblance who went unnoticed at the time? Is this a genuine capture? Or could it be a manipulation? Fact or fiction, the choice is yours. Number 14. Killer in the back seat. This photo looks like something ordinary. However, as with the other ghost photographs, the oddity comes from the story behind it. This dates back to 1959 when a woman named Mabel Chineri visited her mother's grave. After paying her respects, she turned around and took a picture of her husband, who was waiting in the car. When the film was developed, a face that closely resembled her deceased mother appeared in the back seat of the car. You can spot it just to the left of the man in the front seat, a narrow face seemingly wearing glasses, with what looks like a white scarf or shirt collar visible at the neck. This photograph has been published in various forms for decades, often with different versions of the story. Some accounts claim that experts examined the photo and concluded that the mysterious face was neither a result of double exposure nor a reflection, leading many to believe it shows a ghostly figure. Number 13. A family breakdown. This seemingly happy photo of a couple actually has a horrifying backstory. In August 2016, the Tromp family, a seemingly ordinary and hardworking family from Sylvan, Victoria, embarked on one of the most perplexing and bizarre road trips. No one thought that this week-long trip would leave the entire country perplexed. Mark Tromp, the patriarch of the family, along with his wife Jacoba and their 3 adult children, Rihanna, Mitchell, and Ella, suddenly left their home without warning. They left behind their passports, mobile phones, and credit cards, taking only a large amount of cash with them. The family drove almost 500 miles north toward New South Wales in Ella's SUV, all the while believing they were being pursued by something unseen. At some point, Rihanna, Mitchell, and Ella were antagonized by their parents, who took away their gadgets. Mitchell was the first to leave, feeling uneasy about the situation. He later explained that he only joined the trip to keep an eye on his family. After Mitchell's departure, the 2 daughters, Rihanna and Ella, also decided to split from their parents, eventually ending up in Goulburn, where Rihanna was found in a catatonic state and hospitalized. Mark and Jacoba continued, but their mental state deteriorated further. Jacoba was eventually found in Yass, disoriented and agitated, while Mark was discovered running down a street near Wangaratta Airport, later confused but unharmed. In the aftermath, Mark Tromp issued a public apology for the distress caused by their actions, and the family returned to their lives. Now, some believe the Tromp family's breakdown was caused by a rare psychological condition known as folie à deux, a French term meaning madness of two. However, many people aren't convinced by this theory, and so the real cause of this bizarre behavior remains unknown to this day. Number 12. William H. Mumlers spirit photos. These photos show people in the 1800s posing with the spirits of their relatives. This creepy and macabre practice began with William H. Mumler. He was originally a jeweler in Boston, but a self-portrait he captured in 1861 made him pursue photography, specifically spirit photography. While experimenting with self-portraits, he developed a photograph that appeared to show his deceased cousin. Seeing an opportunity, Mumler began offering his services as a spirit photographer, promising to capture images of departed loved ones. His work quickly gained popularity during the Civil War, a time when many families were mourning the loss of loved ones. People flocked to his studio, hoping to catch one last glimpse of those they had lost. One of the most famous examples of Mumler's work is the photograph he took of Mary Todd Lincoln, the widow of President Abraham Lincoln. In the image, Mrs. Lincoln is seen with what Mumler claims is the figure of the late president, with his hands resting on his wife. However, not everyone was convinced of Mumler's photography. Critics and skeptics accused him of fraud, suggesting that the spirits were simply double exposures, a photographic technique where two images are superimposed onto one another. Now, faking photographs today is seemingly quite rampant, but in the 1800s, Mumler potentially faking photos and preying on people's emotions for money was enough for him to be tried for fraud. Mumler was ultimately acquitted due to lack of evidence. Nonetheless, his reputation never fully recovered. While some continued to believe that Mumler indeed had a special connection that allowed him to take photos of the paranormal, others believed otherwise. Number 11. Blueberries on Mars. This photo was captured by NASA's Opportunity rover in 2004. It shows what seemed to be spheres on the red planet, particularly in Mars Meridiani region. While they might look like tiny berries, these spheres are rich in hematite, which means they provide clues about the Martian planet's landscape. The blueberries are thought to have formed billions of years ago in the presence of water. Scientists believe they're a type of concretion formed when minerals slowly accumulate around a nucleus in water-saturated environments. The exact process is still a subject of scientific inquiry, with multiple hypotheses but no definitive answers. In fact, they've sparked debates about their origins. Some researchers have suggested they could be the result of meteorite impacts rather than water-related processes. However, the prevailing theory remains that they're tied to ancient water activity on Mars. Someday, these odd blueberry-looking spheres might help us find out once and for all if life can truly survive on Mars. Number 10. Ghost in a burning building. On November 19, 1995, Wem Town Hall in Shropshire, England, was engulfed in flames, a fire that ultimately destroyed the historic building. As firefighters battled the blaze, a local amateur photographer named Tony Orahilly snapped several pictures of the scene. Among these, one photograph stood out, a haunting image that appeared to show a young girl standing amidst the flames, gazing out from one of the burning doorways. Of course, the rescuers made sure that no one was present at the scene, and not a single eyewitness of the fire saw the girl either. Many believed that the girl in the photo was a ghost, dubbed the Ghost Girl of Wem. The figure sparked intense speculation and media interest. Some believed the girl in the photograph was the spirit of Jane Sherm, a young girl who, according to local legend, accidentally started a fire that burned down several houses in Wemback in 1677. It was said that Jane's spirit had returned to the site of her tragic mistake, perhaps as a lingering presence seeking some form of redemption. Some experts examined the image and found no evidence of tampering, which quickly made this photo one of the most renowned paranormal photos in the world. Number 9. The Summerton Man. On December 1, 1948, the body of an unidentified man was found slumped against a seawall on Summerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. Dressed sharply in a suit and tie, the man carried no identification, and all labels had been meticulously removed from his clothing, leaving investigators with few clues about who he was or what led to his death. What they did find in the man's pocket only led to more questions. In the man's trousers was a tiny scrap of paper with the words "Tamam Shud," which means "it is finished" in Persian. Investigators later revealed that the phrase was most likely from a rare copy of a book of poetry found tossed into the back seat of a local man's car, with a torn page that matched the scrap of paper in the Summerton man's pocket. Another mysterious thing was that, along with this code, a phone number linked to a nurse named Jo Thompson was found in the poetry book. For years, theories about the Summerton Man ranged from espionage. Some thought he was a Cold War spy due to the cryptic nature of the clues, to more mundane explanations like an accident. In 2022, researchers led by Professor Derek Abbott, using DNA extracted from the man's hair, identified the Summerton Man as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne who had gone missing around the time his body was discovered. Webb's connection to Adelaide, his reasons for being there, and the circumstances of his death, however, remain unresolved. Number 8. Weird light on Mars. In 2019, NASA's Curiosity rover captured a peculiar and mesmerizing image on Mars, a mysterious glowing light appearing on the Martian horizon. Could this be proof of aliens? Well, not quite. Similar lights have been spotted before, both by Curiosity and other rovers, and each time, speculations about aliens and extraterrestrial structures were raised. However, NASA has also squashed these conspiracy theories time and time again. Scientists from NASA suggest that the glow could be the result of cosmic rays striking the rover's camera sensor, or a beam of sunlight sneaking through a vent hole in the camera housing. Others, however, continue to believe these lights are clues to alien life. I'll let you decide which one you believe. Number 7. The Pollock Sisters. On May 5, 1957, John and Florence Pollock lost their two beautiful daughters, 11-year-old Joanna and 6-year-old Jacqueline, in a tragic car accident. A year later, they were blessed with children once again. This time, they had identical twin girls, whom they named Jennifer and Jillian. The Pollock family saw it as a new beginning, but the past continued to haunt them. The twins displayed eerie connections to their deceased sisters. Jennifer, for instance, had a birthmark on her waist that matched one Jacqueline had, and another on her forehead in the same spot where Jacqueline had a scar from an accident. As the twins grew older, their similarities to their late sisters only became more apparent. Despite the family moving away from Hexham shortly after the twins' birth, when they returned to visit a few years later, the girls seemed to recognize landmarks and places they had never seen before, including their deceased sister's old school and favorite playground. Even more unsettling was their ability to identify toys that had belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline, recalling names and details about them that they seemingly couldn't have known. The Pollock twins also shared an unusual fear of cars, often becoming terrified at the sight of vehicles. It's easy to understand why. Florence even claimed that she heard the twins discussing the accident in startling detail during play. These peculiarities caught the attention of Dr. Ian Stevenson, who extensively documented the Pollock twins' case, arguing that their memories and behaviors were consistent with reincarnation, that the souls of the deceased sisters had been reborn in the twins. While the twins' memories of their supposed past lives began to fade as they grew older, the case remains a compelling topic in discussions about life and death. Skeptics have suggested that the twins' memories could have been influenced by their family, particularly their older brothers, or that their behaviors resulted from suggestions or subconscious influences. However, the Pollock sisters continue to be cited as one of the most convincing cases of reincarnation. Number 6. The Lady of the Lighthouse. St. Augustine Lighthouse stands tall as one of Florida's most iconic landmarks. It has a history that stretches back over 450 years, with the structure starting out as a mere wooden watchtower. It wasn't until 1871 that the lighthouse we see today was constructed. The finished tower stood at 165 feet and guided countless ships safely through the treacherous waters of the Atlantic coast. And yet, this beacon of light is also famous for paranormal activity. You see, the construction of this lighthouse was marked by death. Hezekiah Pitt T., the project superintendent, moved his family to the site, including his 2 daughters, Eliza and Mary. The girls, along with their young friend, were fond of playing with a small rail cart on the site to transport supplies. Everything was going well until a tragic accident happened. The cart derailed and plunged into the waters below. The children were helpless against the powerful waves of the Atlantic. Since that tragic day, many visitors and staff have reported hearing the haunting laughter of children, and some have even spotted what appeared to be small figures peeking out from the shadows. It's believed that the Pitt T girls continue to play and reside in the lighthouse, letting their presence be known from time to time. Number 5. Mother's dead son shows up in CCTV footage. One evening in 2019, Jennifer Hodge, a 57-year-old mother from Atlanta, Georgia, experienced a chilling encounter, one that she never forgot. She was sitting in her bedroom watching TV when she received a motion alert from her security camera, which was set up in the kitchen. Curious, she checked the footage on her phone and was stunned by what she saw. A male figure was moving around in her kitchen. Now, she was stunned not because of fear. You see, this man wasn't an intruder. Somehow, this man bore an uncanny resemblance to her late son Robbie, who had tragically passed away 2 years earlier at the age of 23. The figure appeared as a translucent, ghostly form hovering in the kitchen before vanishing. Jennifer and her daughter checked the house for an intruder, but they found nothing out of place. The mysterious figure had vanished without a trace. Jennifer described her son Robbie as a joyful, loving person, and she had struggled with his passing. The image captured by her security camera seemed to bring her a sense of peace, as she felt it was a sign from Robbie, letting her know that he was okay and still watching over her. This might be the only ghost story that almost made me cry rather than scare me. Number 4. A giant mummified finger. This is the relic of Burr Hooker and is allegedly one of the proofs that giants truly existed. The history of this finger dates back to 1988 when Swiss club owner Gregor Spory led an expedition into Egypt. In one of the pyramids was where he found this finger, measuring about 13 inches long and 2.36 inches thick. This digit looked like it had been cut off with anatomical precision. It had leathery skin, and between the dried skin folds were the remains of fungus, and the nail on the finger was also loose. Despite the dreadful state of the finger, its size truly captured the researchers' attention. What made the discovery even more intriguing was the mysterious circumstances surrounding it. Spory claimed that the relic was shown to him by a private collector who was adamant about keeping its origins secret. The collector insisted that the finger was authentic, a part of a long-lost giant skeleton, and provided Spory with a photograph and an X-ray to further support his claim. Some believe that the relic is proof of the existence of a race of giants. Others, however, believe that it was nothing but a mere hoax. To this day, nothing about this finger has been confirmed, leaving the world to wonder if giants really did walk the earth, or if it's all just a clever fabrication. Number 3. White Lady of Worstead. In 1975, a couple visiting St. Mary's Church decided to take a photograph inside. When they later developed the picture, they were shocked to see the figure of a woman in white standing behind her husband, who had been sitting in one of the pews at the time. The couple insisted that no one else was in the church with them, and the figure did not appear in any other photos taken that day. Many believed that this was the White Lady. The spectral figure is said to haunt the 14th century St. Mary's Church, where her presence has been reported for centuries. According to local folklore, she was once a healer or nurse in life, and after her death, her spirit continued to watch over the church and its visitors. People who claim to have seen her describe a woman dressed in a flowing white gown, often appearing near the altar or in the bell tower. Unlike many ghost stories that inspire fear, the White Lady is said to emanate quite the opposite. She was a peaceful ghost. While some were still not convinced that this showed a real ghost, those who had experienced paranormal or supernatural activity in the church were firm believers that a spirit truly was healing and providing guidance in the church. Number 2. Whose thumb is that? Now, this photo will definitely make you do a double take. On January 13, 2012, this photo surfaced on a thread online. At first glance, it shows 4 kids posing for a picture. However, if you look at the photo properly, you'll notice something weird. Count the number of hands in the photo. Notice anything yet? In this photo, you can see an extra thumb. No one knows just who this thumb belongs to. Could it be another kid behind the 4 main subjects? Well, an internet sleuth tried to track down the kids in this photo, and they claimed that the people in the photo confirmed that no one was behind them. Are they telling the truth? Is something supernatural going on in this photo? Or is this a simple photo with 5 real people in it? Now it's time for today's topic. In the early hours of a foggy night in November 2023, a driver traveling along a desolate stretch of Highway 50 in Nevada, known as the loneliest road in America, captured something on his dashcam that defies explanation. As the driver, Mike, navigated through the dark and isolated highway, he was startled by a strange sight illuminated by his headlights, a donkey standing in the middle of the road. But it wasn't just the donkey that caught his attention. Perched on the donkey's back was a dog, and atop the dog stood a cat. The sight was so bizarre that Mike couldn't believe his eyes. The dashcam captured the eerie image perfectly, showing the 3 animals balanced in a way that seemed impossible. They stood motionless, as if posing for the camera, before slowly disappearing into the darkness as Mike's car approached. Mike pulled over, his heart racing, and replayed the footage. The animals seemed too real to be a trick of the light, yet too surreal to be believed. Word of the strange encounter quickly spread, drawing the attention of local news and curious onlookers. Some speculated it was a hoax, while others whispered about a supernatural occurrence tied to the mysterious energy of the Nevada desert. Whatever the truth, the image remains a baffling and unsettling mystery, leaving everyone who sees it questioning what they truly know about the world around them. Number 1. One of the world's most convincing haunted photos. Tantallon Castle is located on the rugged cliffs of East Lothian, Scotland. Each year, many people visit this site to take photos of the 14th century castle. 2 photos captured in this castle became popular due to a ghostly figure. In 2009, Christopher Atchison captured a photo of the castle. However, this photograph shows a mysterious figure standing in one of the castle's windows, appearing to wear period clothing, a ruff to be precise. Even more intriguing, there were no mannequins or costume guides present at the time the photo was taken. Christopher testified that he didn't see a single soul inside the castle while taking photos, nor did he see the man in the photo present at the scene. But that's not where the mystery of this photo ends. You see, another photo captured 32 years ago showed the exact figure. However, not much is known about this photo, which leads many people to doubt its authenticity. While some skeptics suggest the figure might be an optical illusion or even a trick of the light, others believe it could be a glimpse into the supernatural, a ghost from Tantallon Castle's storied past. After all, the castle has long been associated with paranormal activity, and so, to this day, this photo remains one of the world's most convincing haunted photos. I don't know about you, but these photos surely give me the chills. Did that last photo convince you that ghosts really exist? It surely convinced me. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.